Good morning, class. You are welcome to today's class. We are going to take STH 333 Clothing, Advanced Clothing Design and Construction. We are going to consider construction terms. The construction terms. That is the terms that we will be using in clothing construction. These are the terms that are used commonly in clothing construction. As we have terms in all courses. For example, we have terminologies that we use in food and nutrition. For example, we have basting, which relates to cooking of chicken or whatever. So also basting is a term in clothing and textile, which means stitching. That is a long stitch that we use by using your hand or machine. So we are going to start with block. Block is a term that refers to the foundation pattern or a master plan which can be made on paper or cardboard sheets. It is plain. It does not include any seams or hems or extra fullness. So block patterns are basic patterns because you don't add any allowance to it. You don't add anything to it. That's why we call it block. As you have made your block patterns, there are the 5 block patterns. That's the front bodies, back bodies, front skirt, back skirt, and sleeve. So you keep it for making your pattern, for adapting. So that brings us to another term which is called pattern. Pattern is made when the blocks are outlined and adapted to the required style. That is, all the block patterns are adapted to styles that you desire. Therefore, the 5 blocks that you have made now always remain the same shape, but the shapes of the pattern pieces vary according to the style for which the pattern is being cut. So the blocks are adapted into your patterns according to the style that you want to sew. Then you have another term that is called square out or square across. Square across or square out means drawing a line at right angles to the previously mentioned. That is, you draw a line across, like a line at right angle. That when you draw that line, you are squaring out or squaring across. Then we have another term that is called fold out. Fold out. Fold out is used in making that. So you fold the pattern along one edge of the dart and place it to the other edge so that the dart no longer exists. I repeat, fold out means fold the pattern along the edge of the dart and place it to the other edge so that the dart no longer exists. Half of the dart may also be folded out by placing the folded edge to the center point of the dart. We have basting, as I've said, is another term. Basting means basting stitches that are longwise. That is, they are used temporarily to hold fabric in place before sewing. It's a temporary stitch. It's always like diagonal or a slanting position. So it holds the fabrics together before you sew it. You also have a term that is referred to as bias. Bias, when you say you want to go and buy bias binding in the market, bias is different from binding. Bias is the strip that you are going to use to bind. So bias, well, you can produce your own bias without buying it from the market. So it's a direction of a piece of woven fabric, usually referred to as the bias. The direction of the woven fabric, that is a 45-degree angle to the grain. You cut it 45-degree angle to the grain of the fabric, or a diagonal direction of the fabric. That is, when you are cutting, you cut diagonally. You cut small pieces diagonally, then you join them together to become a strip. Then it becomes bias strip. You have casing. It's another term. Casing, a folded edge of a garment which is usually at the waist. It is used to enclose elastic. So we call it casing. You prepare casing, then you insert your elastic inside the casing. You don't just fold fabric hem of the something and now enclose your elastic. No, you prepare a casing. That casing is a folded edge of a fabric that is prepared specially for enclosing elastic. Is always usually at the waist. Then it is a way of adjusting the fit of the garment. You adjust the fit to make it look smarter or to reduce the fullness. Then we have what we call grain. Grain is another term that is used in clothing construction. Is the direction of the warp and the wefts in a woven fabric. Grain is the line that you find in the fabric. That you can't see the lines with your naked eyes. It is the line of the way the fabric was woven in the fabric in the factory. So if you want to see it, you can even view it under the microscope and see the lines. You see the one that is horizontal and the one that is vertical. The one that is vertical is warp, referred to as warp. The one that is horizontal is referred to as weft. So weft also can be called cross grain because it crosses it. The line is of the fabric is perpendicular to the selvedge. It's perpendicular to the selvedge of the fabric, while warp is vertical. So that brings us to the selvedge. Selvedge is another term. Selvedge is the woven edge of the fabric that runs parallel to the lengthwise grain. They are the finished edges that do not fray. Selvedge is neat, is thick. In the Yoruba, people refer to it as etiaje, the neatest part of the fabric and the thickest part. It doesn't fray. Fray is another term. That is, it does not show raw edge. No raw edge. It is very neat. That is the self edge. You also have what we call that is very common. It's a common technique used for shaping garments. You know that you can have that at the waist, at the hip, at the shoulder, and so just to shaping the garment to make it have shape and look smart and fitted.